2 tonight, a local mom is speaking out, sharing her chilling story of spending her childhood as a sex slave. This coming 1 week after a local human trafficking bus, 3 victims rescued, all minors and all in our viewing area. NBC Charlotte's Tanya Mendez shows us how one parent is making it her life's mission to save these girls.
Now, thanks to this, you can get to me anytime, anywhere. And that makes our young girls vulnerable to sex trafficking. And it's not just the social media sites that you would think of, like Backpages or Craigslist. It's the sites that they're using every day. We talked to one survivor who says it's time to have a conversation with your daughters.
Hey, watch out, watch out!
The same mom cheering on her kids on Charlotte soccer fields, sitting beside you in church, spent most of her life living with a secret.
And so I swore I would never, ever talk about it.
Lainey George was a child sex slave.
So for me, because it did start so early, I started to keep my mouth quiet.
The first time she was exploited, she was just 3 years old.
I had no idea that it wasn't okay for it to happen to a little girl.
By the time she was 7, she was in the back of the strip club, exchanging sexual favors for help with her homework.
My school bus dropped me off at my strip club. The men, for me, would buy me something to eat after school. They would start with helping me with my schoolwork, and then I would have to perform the sexual act for them.
Hers is a story that's happening in the shadows of every corner of the Carolinas.
It's happening under people's own roof.
Shauna Pagano works with No Rest, a statewide organization that's fighting the trafficking of our young people. Is human trafficking a problem here?
Absolutely.
The average age a girl is first sold? 15. And more girls than you think. There were 181 victims in North Carolina last year, but those were just the sex trafficking cases that were actually reported.
It's really, in my opinion, just the tip of the iceberg.
Left index fingers, just like that.
We saw it last week.
This young lady.
The FBI saved 3 girls here.
How did that happen?
Busted 11 pimps and johns. But if you think you know what sex trafficking looks like, Pagano says think again.
One of the misconceptions we're really working to try and eliminate is that traffickers are driving around in a white van full of puppies.
So, Mr. King?
They're so-called boyfriends, their grandparents running sex rings like a family business. They're even on the cheerleading squad.
Some traffickers have some of their victims start recruiting other victims. So young women may start recruiting other young women within their own school system and social networks.
But Lainey George says there's hope.
The journey's hard, but it's possible.
She now runs a home for sex trafficking survivors here in North Carolina.
We've had an influence in over 200 ladies' lives.
Girls, once sold, now saved.
I will do this till I take my very last breath, until every woman knows that she's valued, accepted, and loved, and that her story doesn't end from her past.
This is just the beginning of our investigation into the sex trafficking of young girls. For more of the disturbing details that we've uncovered, log on to WCNC.com/sellinggirls.